Now, Mheshimiwa Mbui, during this time, and also to welcome Mheshimiwa Julius Ruto from Kesses constituency. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mheshimiwa Mbui, so 1 year later, families, and you've been seeing the stories on different platforms, including Citizen TV, of what those wounds mean to individuals and to families. Individuals who are still nursing injuries, some people that their lives have been transformed. You just watched a story there of someone whose leg had to be amputated. They're not having to go about their business of welding in the situation you find them. Why hasn't Parliament thought about these individuals?
I think when you talk about Parliament is an institution that many of us somehow outside here don't seem to understand how it operates. There is a hierarchy of leadership, and there is also the issue of the democracy, which is in numbers, that plays a very important role in Parliament. First and foremost, any attempt to have a motion that will end up at the floor of the House is actually not every member has a right to do that. They can only attempt to do it. There has to be an approval from the Speaker of the Assembly. So many times people will castigate members for not doing certain things, not knowing that members might attempt and they will not even be allowed. On the issue of Albert Ojwang, for example, members attempted to have an adjournment motion where there would be a discussion about the brutal murder of Albert Ojwang. The Senate allowed it, National Assembly did not. National Assembly Speaker allowed a question to be put to the CS, and then the committee met the CS. But when the report was brought to the House, we attempted to debate. I actually tried to confront him on the floor to get an opportunity to express my dissatisfaction with not only what they had said in that meeting, but I wasn't allowed, and I was told, wait for next week so that you can talk about it. I'll give you enough time next week. Now, you know, sometimes...
When is next week?
Next week now is this week.
Okay.
Because this was last week.
Yeah.
But you see, at the end, you must realize that sometimes if you don't hit the iron when it's hot, there's too much water under the bridge, you know? So many other things will happen. For example, by the time we probably get to discuss this, it will have been overtaken by what is likely to happen tomorrow, because tomorrow the young generation of Kenya wants to commemorate their loved ones and their friends who died last year, and, you know, for no good reason. So basically, unfortunately, they are very well-wishing members in Parliament, but unfortunately, the hierarchy, the leadership sometimes denies them an opportunity. There's also many times we have motions, bills, debates, and people want to even make a contribution and even speak on the floor of the House. Remember, it is also the responsibility of the presiding speaker at that time, either speaker or one of the members of the speaker's panel, to decide who speaks. So again, there can be an attempt to ensure that those who have a dissenting voice will never be heard on the floor of the House.
So you're telling me, for a whole year, nobody has come up with a motion to speak about those that we lost, and even perhaps consider compensation?
We have talked about some of those issues. The thing is, Sam, I want to tell you, in talking about them, I have talked about it. I am a victim. You remember, I'm a victim of police brutality. And I at every opportunity, I will always talk about it. But we are talking about a structured plan where you will have a motion that will be debated so that at the end of the day, there's compensation. Now, anytime there is an issue concerning money, and this is important for Kenyans to know, that must be approved by the committee called the Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Yeah.
And they cannot also approve without the consent of Treasury. So it's a very murky place we operate. Yes, it is in the Constitution.
No.
It is in the Constitution. I will look for the article to show you that there must be concurrence and consultation with the National Treasury. Any money bill, look at articles, I think from 115 somewhere there. No, I'm not sure that it's 115, but I'll find the article. There has to be consultation with the National Treasury. So unfortunately, many times, if you attempt to come up with a motion or a bill that has elements that have money implications, then it has to go to that committee, and that committee has to consult with the Treasury to come up with an agreement. So many are the times when members might attempt to do some of these things and it doesn't work. But I'm not saying that we have done much about the compensation. Some, I will tell you, many of us are discouraged, highly discouraged, because of operating under a situation where you find that your voice will never mean anything. You will say things, but it will not, when it comes to voting, you will be voted down. You will be shouted down. That is one of the things that discourages many of us. And I will tell you that no one on the side of this blood-based government will be willing to even bother to discuss compensation. And some, let me tell you, the Kenya Kwanza regime doesn't learn anything. They believe in brute force. You saw recently when Albert Ojwang was killed, and they went out to the youth went out to seek, in fact, Kenyans went out to speak and ask for justice for Albert Ojwang. What did they do? They unleashed goons. Goons that are paid most likely by people that are state operatives. Why do I say that? Because you saw them with crude weapons in the streets. Article 37 that allows demonstrations is very clear that you must be peaceful and you must be unarmed. I don't see when somebody is carrying a whip and a rungu, whether you can say that person is unarmed. Those are the people you expect the police to restrain, and even if they are to use some force, they use force on such people. But these are the people that were being escorted by the police to meet fear and beat up innocent protesters. So it's a very unfortunate thing, and some, they are even talking about it. You had the member for Tiati just, in a public baraza in his constituency, telling us that he's going to carry all these young fellas from his region, the rustlers, cattle rustlers, bring them to the city to beat up innocent demonstrators. I mean, that's a kind of Kenya we are running. It's a very, very unfortunate situation. And some, I want to apologize on behalf of Parliament that many things we can do, we don't do. And it's because some of us get discouraged. And the things that, you never know where you'll end up, because you start with a good plan and it ends up getting messed up. You saw the demos of last year. We were fighting against the finance bill. And because the youth were also fighting against the finance bill, we were working together. But immediately after 60 of them were killed, a government of blood was formed. My colleagues were appointed to cabinet. And that was the solution to the problem of the young people that came out to the streets. It's a very unfortunate situation. And maybe it's important to talk about why is it that they were in the streets, because many times we demonize our youth for no reason. These are people that were just complaining about the taxes that were being introduced by the new regime. And you know what? First and foremost, when taxes go up, it means people have less disposable income. And do you know that the salaries have dropped 6 times since this regime came into power because of the increases in tax and also some of the other deductions? NSSF went up. It is a saving, but it is also coming from the salary. When it goes up, it means you save money for later. You have none to spend now. NSSF went up. NHIF went up. Soon after that, they changed. They introduced the housing levy. That reduces salaries. After that, NHIF changed to SHA. Again, it went up to 2.75% of the gross salary. After that, NSSF again has gone up. I mean, it's a constant increase. And remember, also pay-as-you-earn went up. So 6 times salaries have dropped within those 2 years. So these young people are right to come to the streets. Again, cost of goods and services had to go up because the minute you introduce taxes like VAT on fuel, that makes every price go up.
All right, Mheshimiwa Mbui, we'll get to the